The Last Prince, created by New York Times best-selling author Patrick Larkin. Chapter 2, Into the West, Part 3. As the East descended into carnage and chaos, the Irene finished her long, storm-racked voyage. Unaware that open war for the throne had already erupted, and equally unaware that 4 of his half-brothers were now dead, Nikanor and his 2 friends at last arrived at Brundisium. They bought horses and set out on the 2-day ride to Tarentum, founded centuries before by the Spartans. Tarentum was the closest large city, one which could provide the extra men and gear Nikanor knew they needed before meeting with Perdiccas and the Roman Senate. Nikanor's first task in Tarentum was to hire a small band of hardened Greek mercenaries led by Demetrios of Taras, men willing to fight for gold, and a strong captain. The road to Rome would be long and dangerous. He inspected them carefully, his gaze sweeping over each man and horse with a commander's scrutiny. He liked what he saw. Later that day, Nikanor met his 2 friends and saw that they had a surprise for him.
Where have you 2 been all day? Picking up trinkets in the market?
Trinkets? Not exactly, Prince. This is far more important. Especially once we get to Rome.
You have my full attention, Aristides. What's that? An over-decorated royal robe?
Us? Waste money on fancy clothes? That's hurtful, Nikanor. Show him, Quintus.
Nikanor gazed intently at the banner unfurled by Aristides and Quintus. Its purpose was immediately apparent. This was intended as his personal banner, one that would immediately signify his royal status, both as a son of Alexander the Great and as a contender for his father's crown. He felt a great weight settle on his shoulders. Every color and every symbol, especially the 16-pointed star and the stylized lion's head in the center, testified to his true identity. Openly displaying this banner would mean there was no going back. A week after arriving at Tarentum, Nikanor and his companions set out on their overland trek to Rome. Leaving the city near dawn, they sent the 4 mercenary cavalrymen ahead as scouts, probing the countryside for signs of danger. Nikanor, Quintus, and Aristides rode together, the road to Rome stretching out before them. For 5 days, they traveled through a peaceful, well-settled land. Ahead, however, loomed the craggy peaks and narrow passes of the Apennine Mountains, rough country infested with bandits and lawless men. It was there that Nikanor's foresight in hiring mercenaries paid off. Unwilling to confront such a wary and well-armed party, the local brigands let them pass unmolested. Beyond the mountains, they turned north, slogging up a narrow coastal plain broken by rivers and marshes. At last, they reached more populated territory. Rome itself lay not far ahead. Nikanor and the others reined in on a hill overlooking the city. After a long silence, Quintus spoke.
I was young when we left for Babylon, and yet this city is still my home.
Nikanor clasped his friend's shoulder briefly, and then turned his horse toward the Macedonian garrison. In a nod to Roman law and custom, Perdiccas and his troops had built their fortress outside the bounds of the city. As he rode slowly toward the main gate with his personal banner unfurled, Nikanor tensed, wondering again how his father's old general would react to his arrival. He was not left wondering for long. They were immediately summoned to Perdiccas' headquarters and ushered, without ceremony, into his presence.
Well, boy, why have you brought yourself and your problems to my doorstep?
First, General, I'm a prince, a son of your king, not a boy. Second, you know as well as I do that we all face a looming catastrophe.
The catastrophe is already in motion. A courier from Babylon arrived yesterday. My father is dead, without naming a successor. And your brothers, those who still live, all want my backing.
Of course they do. But will you lend your aid to any of them, General?
Fling my men into the furnace of a civil war? Never. We're needed here.
I'm glad to hear that. I wish more of your fellow commanders felt the same.
You're not here for the same purpose, Prince? To gain support for your own bid?
I am looking for aid, but not at the cost of peace and order in Italy.
So you want the Romans to supply you with soldiers? You're as ambitious as the rest.
Perhaps so, but not by my choice. Either I act, or watch all fall to ruin.
Bold words. But before I let you recruit an army, you must prove yourself to me. Show you're more than a puffed-up princeling. If you can, I'll stand aside.
And just how do you propose that I do that?
The Celtic tribes to the north have rebelled. I'm marching tomorrow to break them. Come with me as a volunteer, you and your friends. Show me what you're made of.
Fair enough, General. I accept. We'll march under your command.
Until tomorrow, then.
Well, that could have gone better.
True, Nikanor. On the other hand, it could also have gone a lot worse.
Worse? How so? Your head is still attached to your shoulders. Let's count that as a win. A win? Maybe so. This is only the beginning of the battle to win Perdiccas over. So let's make sure our horses and men are ready. We need every edge we can get.
Next in The Last Prince, Nikanor and his friends march north with an army of Macedonian regulars and Roman auxiliaries. Celtic tribes have risen in revolt, raiding Etruscan towns and Roman colonies throughout northern Italy. Perdiccas plans a swift campaign to defeat the barbarians. Nikanor hopes to gain the respect of the veteran general, but what will the fortunes of war decree? Far to the east, the fighting between Nikanor's half-brothers intensifies. While the main armies avoid direct clashes, raids and skirmishes spread across the kingdom's heartland, bringing misery and woe to countless innocents.